All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the classic legal case of Pettitt versus Pettitt. We're going to see exactly what happens when one partner buys a home and the other partner puts in the hard labor, the sweat equity, to improve it. It brings up a fascinating question. Does sweat equity just magically grant you legal rights? We so often assume that pouring our physical effort into renovations naturally translates into a share of ownership. It makes sense, right? But as you'll see, what feels fair doesn't always align with the strict letter of the law. So let's look at the timeline here. First, the wife purchases a house, and she registers the legal title entirely in her own name. Then, over the course of the marriage, the husband completely voluntarily makes some pretty significant renovations to the place. Fast forward to their divorce, and he claims that those physical contributions actually earned him a beneficial interest in the property. This sets up a direct, very real clash. On one side, you have the wife, holding the sole legal title. On the other side, you have the husband, arguing that his ongoing voluntary labor should grant him an equitable title. So it's literally strict legal registration battling it out with physical, hands-on contribution. Well, the court's ruling here was absolutely definitive. They stated that voluntary improvements absolutely do not grant a legal right to the property. It turns out all that hard work simply doesn't forge an ownership stake where none existed on paper. And this distills down to a really fundamental rule in property law for all of us to remember. Contribution does not equal ownership. If the deed only has one name on it, physical labor, no matter how extensive, just cannot override that legal reality. Which leaves us with this absolutely crucial takeaway. If sweat equity doesn't automatically equal ownership, how exactly do you legally protect your hard work? Relying on unspoken assumptions is going to leave you incredibly vulnerable. So moving forward, you really have to ask yourself, are you building on solid legal ground, or are you just voluntarily improving someone else's asset?